rates. If you remember what a unit rate is, it is a rate or a ratio where one of the numbers that you're comparing is 1. So a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. A unit rate is when one of those numbers that you're comparing is the number 1. So in any time we're trying to find a unit rate, we have to make an equivalent ratio where one of the numbers that we are comparing is the number 1. So in the first example, I have 140 miles in 4 hours. So neither of those numbers is the number 1. I need to write an equivalent ratio where one of them is the number 1. I could do that two different ways. I could turn the number 4 into the number 1, or I could turn the number 140 into a number 1. Usually when we're talking about unit rates, we want to use the second number to turn that into the number 1. So if I am turning 4 hours into 1 hour, we can kind of think about it the same way as we would think about an equivalent fraction. So if I'm writing an equivalent ratio going from 4 hours to 1 hour, I am dividing 4 by 4 to get 1. I'd have to do the same thing on the other side. I'd have to divide 140 divided by 4, and that would be 35 miles. 140 divided by 4 is 35. Another way that we could think about it is we usually write rates. We can also write them as fractions. So if I were to write this rate as a fraction, it would be 140 miles over 4 hours. And this actually shows us that we would be dividing, because fractions are division. So here I would be dividing 140 divided by 4. That's the exact same thing that I did over here. 140 divided by 4. 140 divided by 4 is 35 miles in 1 hour. Our next example is 10 boxes of cereal for $8. So if I have 10 boxes of cereal for $8, I want to know how many boxes of cereal I could buy for $1. So if I divide 8 divided by 8, that would give me 1. If I divide 10 divided by 8, that would give me 1.2 boxes of cereal. I could also write this as a fraction, write the rate as a fraction, 10 boxes over $8. 10 divided by 8 is 1.2 boxes for every $1.